We have received a new bunch of champions recently in the beginning of May, including one new mythical champion for the dwarfs. In this case, I was testing her yesterday and I was so surprised. I saw that amount of damage and I was like, I need to make a video about her. I think it's really interesting and is finally a mythical worth be called mythical for the dwarf faction. So let's have a look at her. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another raid video. In this case we're going to be looking at one of the latest, for not saying the latest, mythical champion that came to raid, and in this case for the faction of the dwarves that had two mythicals that they were quite underwhelming. I think we all agree that they could get some more love, despite that one of them, Frolny, I think had already two rebalances, still not worth being calling a mythical champion. In this case, we're in the test server, we have all the new champions, and one of them is CINDA FORGEHEART. She is very interesting. So let's go quickly over her skills, then I'm going to show you the different ways of gearing her, how I have her, and we're going to take her for a test, because you're going to be surprised. I don't think, if you haven't seen anything about her, I think you're going to be surprised, especially with the A1, and I'm going to show you why exactly, because that's a very particular way of working. So yeah. Attack champion, attack base champions, her job is to deal damage either on the base form and on the secondary form. The only difference between both of them is that the second form is gonna need accuracy, because we need to be able to land HP burns and decrease defense and decrease attack here. So she's gonna need accuracy. That's why in terms of stats they're exactly the same. It's just that the second form has 30 resistance and 20 accuracy, and when we change her it just flips, because the base form doesn't need any accuracy. But if we're planning on using her on the second form, then we're gonna have to put accuracy on her kit. Good thing is that at least some of her skills are able to ignore resistance over here, ignore resistance over here, so you won't need 600, 500 accuracy. With 350 should be more than enough. But let's go quickly over the skills. Let's start with the A1. This is very interesting. Attacks one enemy. Each hit ignores 50% of the target's defense, ignores 30% of the target's defense instead. If this champion is under Magma Shield, all her kit works around having Magma Shield, so at the beginning of each round she's gonna apply 1. The A3 is gonna apply a Magma Shield, ignore unkillable and block damage if this Magma Shield is active, and get an extra turn if we kill an enemy, and also get a 300% Magma Shield. Since we're getting an extra turn, we're gonna go on the second form, another Magma Shield, but in this case we're gonna be ignoring 50% defense if we still have it, and filling turn meter by 50%. We're gonna keep seeing this, having a very fast rotation of skills. But then, like I said, let's go on the A1, because I think it's probably one of the most interesting and fun to play around. Attacks an enemy 2 times, each hit ignores 15%, sorry, ignores 30% if this champion has Magma Shield, and we've seen that she's able to apply it to herself in any of the skills, and will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the initial target is killed. This is key. This is very interesting, and this, I'm going to explain you, there's two branches, there's two diversions of this particular way of writing this. One of them is Wukong, Skinwalkers, is Sun Wukong, where is he? Here he is. Will attack all remaining enemies with surplus damage if the target is killed, similar. This attack will ignore 50% of the target's defense. This is very interesting, but this is key. This attack cannot be critical. This is very key. That means that the hit is gonna be very good, is gonna be pretty strong, but we're not gonna see absolute nuts. We're not gonna see numbers that are really terrifying. On the other hand, and in the other different branch, the other different direction, we have Siegfried with an A3 that is famous for hitting really hard. Attacks an enemy, ignores 50% of the target's defense, will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the initial target is killed. And this is key. Here he's not saying this attack will be normal or this attack cannot be critical. We're talking about the A3, the highlight skill of Siegfried, that is gonna be similar to the A1 of a different mythical. In this case, Senda, this hit, if it manages to kill the enemy, this extra surplus damage can be critical, and this is shitloads of damage. We're gonna see stupid amount of numbers, especially for wave clearing, because the first time I saw her kit, I was like, okay, this first form is gonna be great. I didn't really pay much attention to this. This first form is gonna be great. It's gonna be great for single target enemies, killing bosses, these kind of things. And the second form is gonna be more specialist for clearing waves, because we have AoE. Here it attacks all enemies. If this champion is in the magma shield, ignores target defense, ignores even more defense for each active HP burn. Again, the A2 attacks all enemies 2 times with decreased defense, pretty interesting. Also based on the amount of HP burns on the enemy team. So the more enemies that have HP burn, the more defense decrease. And the A3, HP burn, activate HP burn, and decrease defense. Again, AoE. So all the skills on the second form make sense in places like waves and in places like Hydra. In Hydra, she's going to be very powerful, especially in the second form, because she's going to be able to apply a lot of useful debuffs. And the A1, like I said, initially it seems that it's going to be more for single target, but let's take her for a spin because it's very, very fun and interesting. So let's try it on the same place as usual, which is Dragon 23, because it's Void Affinity. You can go out and let's bring here Arbiter just for speed. Same Aura Leader, 35%, decreased defense from Lydia, and increased attack from Arbiter. So let's see a bit the rotation of the skills. You're gonna see that she's very fast. You're gonna be able to get she's gonna be able to get a lot of turns very fast. So we start the round with a Magma Shield, increase attack, then comes Lydia, decrease defense and weaken, and now is the time of Senda. So A3, if we kill an enemy, we are gonna get an extra turn, and also we're gonna be able to place a 300% Magma Shield. So this is pretty easy. We hit very hard, 470,000. I'll show you the gear now. It's not that insane, the gear I have on her. We'll get an extra turn, which is gonna allow us to go onto the A2, that we're gonna get another 50% turn meter. Also, we're gonna be able to place another Magma Shield, and we're gonna deal double damage if the enemy is under shield. In this case, the enemy is not under a shield, but we're gonna be ignoring 50% of the defense. And the interesting, get 50% turn meter. You can see that she's already ahead of Lydia. She had 2 turns for 1 turn from Lydia. But now is where we're gonna see the fun. I'm gonna see if I can kill her. I don't want you to look at the first number, I want you to look at the second number, at the surplus damage, but that's only gonna happen if we kill her. So let's see, 1 and 2. And we were able to see it more or less. That's because she had a lot of HP, so it kind of took us a while to lower the HP to the level that I wanted, and the second hit was like 300,000 and 500,000, so not as much. But double hitter. Now let's see if we don't kill anyone. We kill too much. Okay, I want to show you if I don't kill this one. We killed it. Okay, let's go back. Let's go one step back. Thing is, I'm killing them, and I don't want to kill them, or I want to kill them, but when they have very low health. That's the interesting thing. Let's go on. This is gonna smack. All are gonna smack. Now you saw 1.1 million, 1.2 million. The thing is, if the initial hit will lower a lot of the HP. The second hit, if it's strong enough that kills the enemy, the more surplus damage that we're gonna have there, the more insane the free extra damage is gonna be. I've seen almost, I think it was 1.9 million hitting an enemy with a very low HP. Let's see 1 and 2. This is going to be interesting because, as you can see, the HP is quite low. So I'm going to try to keep her alive so you get to see the extra surplus damage. That's going to be pretty insane. Let's kill 1. Okay, now a bit too early maybe because I wanted Lydia to come now and place the... I hope I don't kill her. 1, 2, perfect. So now Lydia should come. Decrease defense, weaken. Hopefully we don't kill them. Perfect. Now you can see that they have very low HP. The lower the HP, the better, because the harder is gonna be the extra damage and the harder is gonna be the surplus. So here pay attention, not to the first hit, to the hit these 2 on the right are gonna receive. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be hopefully 2 million damage, if not more. 1.8, 1.9 million on an A1. I saw this and I was like, oh my god, the amount of damage we're gonna be able to deal. This is the A3 of Siegfried on an A1. Of course, it takes a bit of setup. I'm gonna just leave it here full auto. You can see the damage is not bad. 300k for an enemy that doesn't have decreased defense and weaken is quite a lot. But I saw these numbers and I was like, it's interesting. Keeping also in consideration that she's able to place magma shields and increase attack. The damage is not bad, 1 million on the A3, I think that was. Obviously against bosses, the A1 is not gonna be as powerful unless they have minions. I actually haven't tried it on a spider, just smacking one spider, see how much is this surplus damage. It can be a lot, it can be crazy, but the damage is not bad. I mean, considering that I thought, okay, it can be for bosses, definitely not. Definitely it can be not just for bosses, for literally anything, single target. Let's just quickly try this. Not you. I want here Lydia for decreased defense and weaken. Arbiter again. And Senda over here. Let's put the aura attack. Perfect. So now here's gonna be interesting, because keep in mind that the damage the big spider takes is also gonna be amplified by the amount of spiderlings that die. And if we are able to smack spiderling for so much damage. So let's try it out. Speed 1. One hit, second hit, everything for 1.5 million AoE across the board. So definitely interesting. Let's see the A2 and the A3, see how hard they hit to the big spider. 1 million from the meteorite. We put another shield in there. Now Arbiter a bit more turn meter. 1 and 2. The hits are not so much, but to clear waves, that A1 is super interesting and super fun. The gear I have on her is nothing super crazy. I mean, I didn't have a full-on set with good stats of, for example, Merciless. I'm just about ignoring the 35% ignore defense here. The rest of the things, of course, are going to be very valuable. Feral just for this extra speed, that I have a very good ring, you'll see it in a second. And the stone skin, because I'll need stone skin for the other part that I want to show you, which is her own arena. Here is where we can choose if we want attack or if we want accuracy on the banner, depending if we're going to focus full on damage on the first form, or if we need also accuracy for the second form. That's going to depend a lot, but either way it works. Attack with accuracy or accuracy with attack. Crit damage, crit damage. This is the ring I was telling you, that was a very good ring. Attack, and in this case also the set is helpful because we also need accuracy. And here the rest is pretty standard. Crit damage, crit rate, attack and attack, speed and attack. And in terms of the final stats, 7.6 attack, 219 speed, 312, 100% crit rate, and 220. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's not 400 crit damage, it's not 10,000 attack, she's not even ascended. She has all 6 pink stars. Normally I don't like showing champions extremely overpowered, 6-star, dealing 20 million, because I don't think it's as realistic. I think this is way more realistic, but you've seen what she's able to do on that A1 without any ascension. Here we have Cat's Gaze, level 15. There's several options. If we don't have Cat's Gaze, we can go for the Malefic Talon. It also gives us crit damage, can also be useful. We could even choose something like, how's it called, Bommal something, should be on here. This is also very, Dread Bomb, also very good. Crit damage, speed, attack, extra turn when attacking, very useful. Pyrrhus Maleos also pretty useful. So pretty much anything able to ignore defense, anything able to increase our crit rate, all of these are going to be very useful. And then this is the gear, like I said, this is the relic, these are the skills. They're just fully booked, that's the only thing. In both forms, they're fully booked. But like I said, it doesn't have any blessing. If we put a blessing, I would probably lean towards either Nature's Wrath, because this is going to increase a lot of damage. This increases our damage depending on the amount of debuffs we placed, and she's able to place a lot of debuffs, so we can just ramp up this form, get all the enemies with lower defense over here, ramping up her attack, ramping up her damage with the Nature's Wrath, up to, depending what you have, 15%, 30%, can be a lot of damage, and then we just flip forms and start smacking like crazy. either way works. Even in terms of relics, you could go with, I think it's called Heretic Coronet, which also is going to improve this one. Wearers damage increases by 1% each time they place a debuff. This stacks with the Nature's Wrath, so we can be getting up to 60% extra damage. I mean, there's ways of even increasing more and more the damage of this champion. And in terms of masteries, I went for these ones, pretty basic, the attack ones, and then here we needed some accuracy. So the stats are nothing insane, they're nothing mind-blowing. We're gonna have the same look on the second form, in case you're curious to see the damage of the other form. Exactly the same, Lydia and Arbiter, increase attack, decrease defense on weaken. And now we're gonna flip forms, Metamorph, and let's start with the A3, for example. We're going to be able to place HP burn, activate HP burn, so you're going to see a couple of different ticks of damage, and decrease defense we're not going to need because the enemies already have it, but you can see 1, 6,000, 4, I mean there was like a HP burn, activation of the HP burn, and a hit on top. It's not as powerful as the A1, but keep in mind that this is AoE damage. Again, 54, in this case they didn't have any decreased defense or weaken or anything, only this one guy. So this second form, ideally, according to what it looks like by reading the skills, is more wave focused. You can see the damage is not bad at all, 300k AoE is not bad at all, and against bosses, not bad either. HP burn, activating HP burn is quite a lot of damage, decrease attack on A1, also very useful, decrease defense, and you can see the damage is not bad. But when we flip her, now if we would have had if we would have had Nature's Wrath, or if we would have had Heretic Coronet, now that we've been placing a couple of debuffs, her damage would have been even higher. So we change forms, Metamorph, and A2, now that the enemy has less defense, well, pretty much about the same, so not a bad damage at all. And that A1, like I said, is a bit hard to set, it's a bit hard to configure. You need to make sure that we're hitting an enemy with low health. If the enemies have decreased defense on weekend, the damage is going to be even higher. It's not going to be probably as fun on Arena, and also on the test server it's going to be quite hard to show. Let's test her also, since we're here in Hydra. I think she's going to be very good in Hydra. Nightmare in this case, and let's go with Senda, and I'm not sure if it's configured, so you change forms and then you stay in the second form. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the amount of damage that she's able to deal, see how long we last. Should last to the end, more or less. So Marius, 6 stars sended, 172 million, good gear, except the blessing, this is the arena blessing, but 172 damage, and Senda, no ascension, no relics, nothing else, I mean no relics, not Nature's Wrath in this case, 125 million, so really, really good. Of course the MVP, Ashnar, he hits like a fucking crazy, and he does have Nature's Wrath, but you can see the damage is not too far off. The second form is very interesting. If we choose to go on the first form against the Hydra instead of this one, so let's change, don't ever Metamorph, let's try again, see if we last around the same, was like 100 turns, something like that. Here a bit longer, 74. So you can see that the amount of damage being single target is not as good as it is on the second form. Second form is more for when there's a lot of enemies, but the A1 of the first form, oh my god. So let's try it, another thing, just to end the video, let's spin her on Arena. Obviously this for Arena is not gonna work, here we need Mercurial. If we don't have Mercurial, then we have Stone Skin, either of the two can work. And I have this preset that I made before, that is something also, another version. This would be probably more arena oriented because we need Stone Skin, we have lethal, we also need lethal, basically for the ignore defense, and at least one turn, at least let's try to keep her alive for one turn. You can see that she lost stats, she lost attack, I think she also lost a bit of crit damage, we gained a bit of speed, but here in this case we got rid completely of the accuracy, is not important. And let's see on Arena, see what can we fight here. For example, see who is not crazy. Whale, think I saw Hell Hades. This could be fun, this could work. The only problem here is that we're not gonna see obnoxious damage, basically because we don't have anyone able to place decreased defense and weaken. That's gonna be, we're gonna deal good damage and it's gonna be fun to see, but it's not gonna be as crazy as we've seen with other champions. So let's start her turn. We're gonna kill an enemy, straight away get an extra turn. The damage is not bad, 174 is a pretty decent amount of damage. And let's go with the A1, and it's gonna kill them. 1 and 2, and the extra damage was 67 and 86. So it's enough to kill most enemies, is enough, but we're not gonna see 1.2 million. I mean, unless we have decreased defense and weaken and these kind of things, we're not gonna see stupid amount of damage. Let's try last one, something easy, someone that's not, because by X 6 stars is a no-go. I know boosters are, Fabian is stupidly fast, more than 420 at least speed. Let's see Essie, we have here, might be faster. Siegfried can be dangerous, definitely here. See who's faster, I am faster, perfect. Now block skills, so see if he doesn't go, that's what I wanted. Now I need block defense, block active skills and passive. Oh, mistake. See, you saw the damage from Siegfried, did exactly that. A3 killed an enemy, all the extra surplus damage went AoE. So let's try A3, let's kill this guy. We get a magma shield, and it was the second form, the one that was able to, the damage was able to pierce through in, block damage. That was the thing. If we get a 50% turn meter, kill her, magma shield, no, revived. This is gonna be a bit annoying. We change forms, we AoE, hit, he's gonna kill me because of the block damage, but you saw that the damage is decent. The A3 is decent, the A2 is decent, are enough to kill an enemy with a decreased defense and weaken. The problem is if we want to see the value of the A1 on Arena is gonna be a bit more complicated, basically because there's a lot of things involved. Decreased defense, weaken, low health. If we manage the damage, you've seen, very interesting, very, very powerful. But like I said, finally, a dwarf that is interesting. I think she can be called mythical. Not sure if top mythical, but definitely more useful than the other two. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.